the one, the only, Ben Sion. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Just Daf It. Today we're doing Masechah Sotah Daf It, even though really today is the first Daf of Masechah Sotah, but I'm a little bit ahead. Let's start from the second line of Hamid Aleph, the third line. The Torah says, how do you know that it's forbidden to be haughty, to be arrogant? Where do we know that from the Torah? Amar Rava, Amar Zeiri. All the Muslims farm, they say that the midos, the bad midos, you don't have to say anywhere in the Torah because it's understandable that you shouldn't have bad midos. Any person who has a conscience would know that it's not good to have bad midos. But nonetheless, the Gemara asks, how do you know arrogance is a bad one? So at least this midah is talked about in the Torah and the Gemara. I will talk about Iyad Ben Sion, what I believe true arrogance really is. Not what you think it actually is. People are very confused about what is arrogant or not. To speak positive about yourself is not arrogance. I'll say this many times over and over again. As long as you tell what you're saying is the truth. To exaggerate, that's ego. Not exaggerating is not ego. If you're really worth something, to talk about your positive qualities, that's the best thing you can do. You're the biggest fan. You should be the biggest fan of yourself. You should love yourself more than anybody else. You should love other people, your wife, like yourself. It's very hard for people to love themselves. The last person they like in life is themselves. If you like yourself, you'll talk positive about yourself, and you'll talk often about yourself. And we'll talk more about that in Iyad Ben Sion and how it relates to Har Sinai. What really, I believe, the real Har Sinai actually is. Hard to figure out. The archaeologists are still trying to discover where Har Sinai really was. I'll tell you my opinion because it's relevant today. The Gemara, it's mentioned. Amar Rava, where do we know that from? Amar Zeiri, Zeiri says, Shimu v'hazinu al tigbu. Pasuk says, I believe it says in Yirmiyah, listen and don't have a haughtiness in your heart. Your heart will become haughty and you'll forget Hashem. So what's the problem? Before that, 3 psukim before that, it says you should be careful not to forget Hashem. Rabbi says the name Rabbi Lada. Hishamar pain va'al. Right? Wherever it says in the Torah, Hishamar, be careful, pain, don't. That means to tell you that it's forbidden. And that Hishamar lecha pain tishkach Hashem elokecha. It's a lav. How do you forget Hashem of being haughty? Darash Rabbi Avira, Zin Amar al Mishmei Rabasi, Zin Amar al Mishmei Rabbi Yami. Call them Sheyesh B'Gas Haruach L'Sov Mismain. Anyone who has Gas Haruach, who's haughty, eventually he will become nothing. He'll become belittled. Shenemar Rumu Ma'at. If you become high, you become haughty. Ma'at, you'll become little. V'Shem Tomar Yeshno B'Lam. Maybe you'll say, all right, he's little, but he still exists in the world. The pasuk continues, he won't be here. If he does tshuva, nesaf izmano, he will live his predetermined life. Right? If they will crush, their arrogance. They'll be like everyone who will jump. Yaakov, jump to their pre-allotted time. What is the word kol? Bekol mikol kol. By Avram Yaakov, it says some variation of the word kol. So you'll be like the avos who lived to their predetermined time. If he doesn't do tshuva, yimlu. The head of a stalk of grain, they'll wither away. My karoshi bolet. What does it mean, the head of a stalk? Rav Huna Rav Chisda. Chadamarki sasa the shibol. Sometimes it means like the beard, the top part of a stalk of wheat. Right? Looks like a beard on top. But Chadamar, that part will be cut off. Chadamar kishibol is asma. Some say it's talking about the actual stalk itself will be cut down. Bishlam damar kisas the shibol. The honey sieve karoshi bol. The head of the stalk. Ela kaman damar kishibol asma. My karoshi bol. What does it mean? The head of the stalk should say the shibol. Amar Ravasi the chintana de Rishmal. Mashal adam shnichas osadeu. Gvo humalaki. Karoshi shibol is talking about the whole stalk, but it's talking about the one that's highest up. When you go to cut your field, to harvest your field, you take the ones that are more developed, the ones that grew taller. There's dakal shal ruach. Pasuk says the person who is humble, right? As lowly and humble. Rav Huna Rav Chisda, they have a similar machlokes. Charamar iti daka. Ve'et, word ve'et daka is Hashem saying sort of the humble people will be with me. So what does that exactly mean? Charamar iti daka. The lowly people will be with me. They'll be raised up to me, to Hashem. V'charamar aniat daka. I will lower myself to the lowly person. It makes sense, the opinion that says aniat daka, that I will lower myself to that person. He left all the mountains and the hills, the fancy mountains and hills, the Alps, the beautiful Alps. He rested his Shekhinah al Har Sinai. Har Sinai. Where is Har Sinai? Some say it's in the Sinai, the Sinai desert, which is really where Eilat is, a little below Eilat. Where is Har Sinai? Archaeologists forget to try to figure out exactly. They have some Arab mountains. I don't know what they're called. I will tell you what Har Sinai or Sini. Everyone pronounces it Sinai, but who says you pronounce it Sinai? There's no vowels here in the Gemara. Sini. Sini. I know in the Torah it's pronounced Sinai, but again, the Torah also doesn't have vowels. Anyway, we'll talk about it. Is there a Chinese mountain of fame? Yes, there is. Can you guess it? Most people probably don't know this mountain is in China. Har Sinai. Lo Gava Har Sinai. Right? He left all the fancy mountains. Har Sinai. Lo Gava Har Sinai Lamala. Har Sinai didn't get any more arrogant. Didn't get any taller, apparently. A person should learn from the thought of his creator. He forgot about all the mountains and hills, fancy mountains and hills. He gave the Torah on Har Sinai. Anyone who has arrogance, he should be cut down like an Asherah tree. An Asherah was a tree they worshipped in ancient times. Like the people that are haughty, they raise themselves up, they'll be cut down. It also says the same word gidua, cutting down, by Asherah trees in the Torah. At time of Tchias HaMesim, his dirt won't be reawakened. He won't live to Tchias HaMesim. Shenamar, Hikitza Ranu Shochne Afar, talks about Tchias HaMesim. Wake up and sing, the dwellers of the dust. Shechve Abba Afar Lo Never. It doesn't say the ones that are resting in the dirt. Ela Shochne Afar. Mishanasa Shochne Afar Rachayev. Someone who was a neighbor to the dirt in his life. He valued himself in a lowly way. Amar Lezer called him Sheyesh Bo Gaz Zaruach. It's not what I made it sound like. To value himself is not really the right word. He was close. He was a neighbor of the dirt in his life. I'll explain this more in the Menzion. Amar Lezer called him Sheyesh Bo Gaz Zaruach. Anyone who has arrogance, Shechina Miyalel is above. The Shechina cries about him. Someone who's great, who makes himself great. From far away, Hashem will know about him. He'll cry over him. Hashem is not like people. A tall person sees someone else who's tall. You don't look down. If you're a great person, you're a tall person, you see tall people. If you're a great person, you're a celebrity, you don't talk to the regular people. You don't talk to the regular populace. He's great. He relates to everybody. Hashem is great. I'll see anybody, even if you're lowly. Anyone who's arrogant, he can't live together with Hashem in the world. Someone who speaks Lashon Hara about his friend, also atzmi, I'll destroy him. Someone who's arrogant and has a wide heart, also leuchal. Right? Him, I won't be able to. I'll decree also el ito lo suchal. With me, you read it with me, I won't be able to live. Some say this warning about Kadosh Baruch Hu is not talking about someone with arrogance, someone who speaks Lashon Hara. It's the beginning of the pasuk says, anyone who speaks privately badly about his friend, he'll destroy him. If he has arrogance, everything will bother him. Even a small wind will bother him. The wicked people, they're stirred up like the sea. It has tons of water. Ravias halug is a small amount, 3 ounces. Ruach kima ocharto, a wind, strong wind blows in the sea, causes waves in the sea. Adam she'ein bo ela revius. He right. At least he can live on a revius of blood. Halachas kama v'kama. Right. Certainly he will be disturbed even by a little bit of wind. Amar Rechia bar Ashi Amar Rav Talmid Chacham Sarach shehebo echad mishmona mishminis. Talmid Chacham has to have the eighth of an eighth, which calculate mathematically 1/64. Familiar one of my youth with the Gra. The Gra says, or something, in Parshas Vayishlach, which is the eighth pasuk of the eighth parsha, which is Parshas Vayishlach, the eighth pasuk in Parshas Vayishlach. Yaakov Avinu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu basically that he's nothing. That's what Mishmar Mishmin is to mean absolutely nothing, the Gra says. But I don't know, the Gemara seems to imply it is a good thing. Amar Rav Huna B'Reidah Rav Yeshua Ma'atrale Kisasa L'Shibolta. If you have that minimal amount of arrogance, it makes you look like a stalk with a beard. Amar Rav B'Shamta the Isbe B'Shamta the Leis. Someone should be in Nido. He should ask communication if he has arrogance, and also he should be in excommunication if you don't have arrogance. You have to have a little bit. Amar Rav Yitzchak Lo Mina V'Lo Miksasa. Now what Yitzchak says, this is how we hold the halacha. The Rambam Paskin. Not it. Not even a little bit. Mizutar D'Chsiv. Is it not small what it says? D'Chsiv To'avas Hashem Kol Gval Lev. The pasuk says, right? This pasuk says in Mishlei, it's an abomination to Hashem, anyone who has a high heart. A person's tefillah is not answered unless he puts his heart, makes his heart like flesh, meaning humbled. Right? The proper avor in the Beis Hamikdash, every once a month they would come. Rosh Chodesh. It says kol basar, it doesn't say every person, kol basar. Your heart is where you daven from, but it has to be like flesh. You have to be human, realistic. It says basar. V'nirpe adam lo ksivbe. V'nirpe adam lo ksivbe v'nirpe. V'nirpe. It's supposed to talking about saras. V'nirpe ha-basar, it says. Adam lo ksivbe v'nirpe. A person, the article explains, Adam is from Adama. If you're like dirt, which is basically, it's not human, it's not living, right? So you'll never be healed. If someone's basar, someone has human flesh, they're a human being. A human being basically is a realistic person who lives in this world. He's not, his mind is not in Shamayim. His mind is practical. He's in this world. He's dealing with problems in a human way. So that's the type of person who can have a refuah. If your head is in Shamayim, if your gval lev, your thoughts are not realistic, you're haughty. That's really what haughtiness is. It's that you're not practical. You think too much about yourself. You don't have to do the mundane things that everybody else has to do. Amar Rav Yochanan, Adam, the word Adam, right, the mnemonic for Adam stands for, the aleph is Afer, Dam, Mara. It's composed of dust and blood and Mara, bile. Basar, Adam is a bad thing. Basar, busha. It's good to have a little bit of busha, embarrassment. Srucha is degrading, right? Rima is maggots, meaning you focus on, at the end of the day, you're a human being, you're going to die. So it's good to have a little appreciation that you're not so great, right? Igad Amri Shaol. The shin is not for Srucha, it's for Shaol, that you're going to go into Gehenim, the Siv, B'shin. It's actually a shin, not a sin. Amar Rashi, it's not a samech. Sorry. Amar Rashi, call him Jeshbo Gas Ruach Zav Nifcha. Anyone who has arrogant, a high spirit, eventually he'll be crushed. Shenemar Uliseis, top of Hayamad Beis, Uliseis Ulisabach. Seis means bringing yourself up. Ulisapachas, you'll become attached to someone, you'll become subordinate to someone. Ein Seis Elavashon Gavoa. Seis is a language of height. Shenemar of Alkal Harim Aramim Kal Gvos Anisuos. Right? The hills and the mountains that are tall, that are raised up. It's talking about someone who joins one of the 24 Mishpachas Akuna, joins together with them to eat bread. They're not actually part of the Kohanim, the families of Kohanim, they're just joining together. So it's a lashon of subordinates. Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Borei Kama Gdolim Nemuchei Ruach. How great are people that their spirit is lowly. Lefisha Kanesha Kadosh Baruch Hu. When the Beis Hamikdash is all around, Adam Makriv Ola Skar Ola Biyot, they bring an Ola. He gets scar for bringing Ola. Mincha Skar Mincha Biyot, mincha. That's also in his hands. the scar for that. Anyone who's humble, it's like he brought all the karbanos. Zivche is karbanos, right? The karbanos for God are ruach nishbara, a broken spirit. His tefillah is not discussed, and Hashem will listen to his tefillah. Anyone whose heart is broken, Hashem won't disregard his prayers. It's probably the most important Gemara in all of Shas. Anyone who evaluates, does cheshbon nefesh, basically, which some Mesilas Yesharim says, this is what this Chazal means. Shamor Chosa, you evaluate your ways, you do cheshbon nefesh. Every night, you write down what you did during the day and mark it off and decide, is it the right thing or the wrong thing. He'll see the Yeshua of Hashem. He'll see all the Mahabat Kismesim. V'sam derech arena biyesha. The pasuk says in Tehillim, v'sam derech, the person who places arena biyesha Elokim. He places his way, meaning he sets the way. He sets the way, and he shows people how to walk. Arena biyesha Elokim. Al tikru v'sam ela v'sham derech. V'sham means with a shin means to evaluate your ways. Do a cheshbon nefesh. I'm not gonna lie, I did a cheshbon nefesh for many years. Got me to where I am right now, so it's worth it. Hagufa kasha. Amar la b'fnei shnayim. Ketzah makanla. We're going back to the Mishnah. So the Mishnah sounds problematic. Originally it says Amar la b'fnei shnayim. Right? He does kino and stira. He warns her. Al tadabri yinish ploni. He says don't speak with this person. Alma dibur stirhu. Right? Obviously, the Gemara Mishnah continues speaking with a man who's not her husband is not a problem. It's secluding with him. So dibur must mean stira. And what happened? She went and she did dibur, which means, according to the first part of the statement, it means she secluded him. So why is she mutaris? Right? That should be a sotah. She's asr lebeita, and she should be asr truma if her husband's a kohen. Alma dibur lo klumu. So you see that dibur does not mean stira, it means actually talking. Amar Abaye haki amar al tadabri. You have to read the Mishnah, right, as one long phrase. Haki amar al tadabri v'dibra, al tadabri v'nistera, al tadabri v'dibra. Dibur really means to talk. So if he said don't talk, and she talked. Or he said don't talk, and she became secluded. Or he warned her, he says don't seclude, and she talks. If you go back to the Mishnah, you read it as one phrase. You don't read it as two separate phrases. Nichsa. Then the next line in the Mishnah, she goes to him in seclusion. She waits in seclusion the amount of time it takes to be together. And then she's asur to her husband, and she can't eat truma. If a sotah, right, two Adam warned, two Adam saw that she was secluded, right? So she's a sotah, and then her husband died before she can drink the mei sotah, the waters of the sotah. She does chal, and he has a brother. Right, he didn't have any children. He has a brother, right? Ibum is not done. Chalitza is done. My disyabim nami ibum. Why can't do ibum? I'm Rabbi Yosef Makrav. Yatzim base of a halcha v'haisal ishacher. This pasuk is talking about also in Parshas Ki Seitzei, right? He was mekadesh a woman. He finds erevas davar. He finds that she committed adultery, and the Torah says he's megarish her. He gives her a get, and then she leaves his house and she marries somebody else. And the pasuk continues to say if she marries someone else, she can't come back to him, right? She goes to marry a different man. Veloli yavam. Acher is a man not related to this person. The brother is excluded, not to the yavam. Right? You shouldn't need chalitza also. Right? She should go to isha acher. She shouldn't be connected at all to the brother. Ilu isay labal milo baya get. Right? And the pasuk is talking about where the husband was still alive, and it says you give her a get. And now, now he's dead. At least she needs some sort of severing of the relationship. Therefore, need chalitza. V'yista amri, a different way of understanding this. Amar Yosef, Rachman Amar Yosef Beiso, Halcha Aitili Shacher. The Israeli Beise, right? The Torah says he should leave his house and go to another man. Why does the Torah say this? Why does the Torah say he should go to a different man? Because if he keeps her around, it'll destroy his house. By keeping her in the family to the brother, it'll destroy his house. It's part of his house. The Yibum is supposed to, bona bayis la'achiv. He's supposed to have a child for his brother. So it's destroying his house also. So if she's destroying houses, she shouldn't be. Why does the Torah say she goes and marries somebody else? The Torah shouldn't allow her to marry somebody else. Well, Tisrael Beisei. she's an adulterous woman, shouldn't marry Sotah. Amalei, Gemara says on top of Vavam and Aleph, Mikara Minallah Allah Bal Korche. Right, by Yibum, right, if we would force the brother to marry her, that's forced. The Torah says a mitzvah, you have to do it. But here, if someone else wants to marry her and take a risk that he's going to destroy his house because she's an adulterous woman, I mentioned before, an adulterous woman, if she commits adultery with the second husband, and while she's married to the second husband, she's going to destroy the house. So it's his choice. The Torah is not going to. The Torah allows you to act the way you want to act. It gives you permission. You know, you have to make choices in life and decide what's the right way to act. If he loves this woman so much, but he knows that she likes to cheat on her husbands, that's up to him. If he's a real man, she won't cheat on him. If he's not a real man, she'll keep on cheating. But it's up to him. The Torah can't force him to do that. We'll stop over here. This discussion is in the middle over here, but we'll stop over here because it's just a good stopping point. I like to keep as precisely as close to exactly the Daf Yomi. Stay tuned for Iyad Ben Sino. I talk about the concept of arrogance. I think it's really misunderstood. You know, when you're in yeshiva, they tell you got to be anav. And for many years, I thought an anav is meaning you don't value yourself. You hate yourself. You're supposed to look at yourself disgusting. You're lower than everybody else. You walk at the last behind everybody. You sit in the back of the room. You walk behind everybody. Anivas is the greatest thing. But is that really what anav is? Is that really what Gasas HaRuach really is? We'll talk about that, how it relates to Har Sinai, what the real Har Sinai, I believe, is. And I don't, if there was ever a Har Sinai, or maybe it's just a metaphor. We'll talk about that. Iyun with Ben Sion coming up next.